President Franklin Roosevelt once said, "There is nothing so American as our national parks, and that it is for the enrichment of the lives of all of us." We have been enjoying that enrichment for years now, but rarely do we dedicate the kind of time to a single park to fully explore it. On this adventure, we do everything within our means to explore one of America's most remote parks in the lower 48 states. Come along as we spend a full week in Big Bend National Park. We left Indiana on December 22nd, driving over 1,000 miles and spending the night at a roadside park near the town of Stamford, Texas. Texas is a huge state, and it would be another 6 hours of travel across the state to reach our destination, through rolling hills, tiny towns, and oil and gas fields, as the terrain slowly gave way ultimately to a desert landscape as we entered the Chihuahuan Desert.
How's it going?
We could immediately tell there was something different about this park. This was nothing like the rest of Texas we had been driving through. Our first stop would be at the Fossil Discovery exhibit, where we would learn about the ancient past of this land. It was an amazing drive getting through Big Bend National Park down here. The desert landscape is just amazing down here. You wouldn't expect it. But you know, we're in the Chihuahuan Desert now. We're going to start our adventure here at the Fossil Discovery exhibit.
Apparently they found this prehistoric giant crocodilian Dinosuchus here with evidence of its presence through tooth marks and other fossils.
It's hard to think of this desert as being a marine environment, but it was at one time, huh?
It was.
Now this thing I could see roaming this kind of environment, even in today's environment. Cousin of the T-Rex. When I planned this adventure, I never even considered the dinosaur history of the park. But I do remember watching a documentary many years ago about the largest pterosaur ever discovered, the Quetzalcoatlus, that was found in Texas. I didn't realize it was discovered right here in Big Bend in 1971, along with a lot of other ancient creatures. What is this thing above us?
It's a Quetzalcoatlus, the largest ever flying creature on Earth.
Wow. Can you imagine seeing something like that in the air?
I can already do. They're called jets.
So apparently this Bravoceratops is only found here at Big Bend. That's interesting. Prehistoric, but not quite as prehistoric as the dinosaurs. So that's pretty fascinating stuff there, isn't it, Caden? You know, coming down here and seeing all the geology of these mountains in this desert environment and all, and then realizing just how many ancient creatures used to live here. So here you can really get a good feel of this desert environment here at Big Bend. And you can see the distant Chisos Mountains. We're going to be getting to know those really well, up close and personal here this week. And the amazing thing is, once upon a time, that was a volcano. That whole mountain range there was a volcano. That is what is left of it, and we're going to be climbing it. So the Fossil Discovery exhibit there is on the way into the park. Really quick and easy stop. Worth it if you into that kind of thing. But right now I am eager to get inside this park and explore it. we have reservations tonight and tomorrow in the Rio Grande Village Campground. So we're going to be heading into that. We're going to stop at the Panther Junction Visitors Center and see what all this place has to offer. Of course, we've pretty much got a full itinerary for the next 5 days, actually kind of 6 days. So it's going to be exciting. I'm glad you're coming along for the adventure. All right. Well, it looks like we've got a little path here that Caden will love, seeing all of these different kinds of plants here from the Chihuahuan Desert, huh, bud?
Yep.
And we'll probably be on this trail for half an hour because Caden loves investigating all of these things. And it is pretty fascinating. What is this, like our 36th national park now?
It might be.
All right. All right, Panther Junction Visitor Center was a nice little place. We got some information there, got to get a good look at the things we're planning on doing. I did not talk to them about backcountry roads because sometimes the National Park Service doesn't like all-wheel drives like Subarus going on some of their 4x4 trails. And realistically, I'm not that worried about it because we have such a full itinerary this week that we're not really going to have time to explore that kind of stuff. All the trails we've got bookmarked are all accessible, so it's going to be a very busy week. It's going to be hard to fit everything in that we want to do because, you know, being December, gets light around 8 a.m. and dark a little after 5. So it only gives us about 9 hours of daylight to get out and do all the stuff that we like to do. You know, in the summertime, we have so many more hours that we just don't have available to us now. So we're going to make the absolute most of the time that we have here. And right now we're heading towards the campground, actually, Rio Grande Village Campground. That's where we're spending the next couple of nights. I know there's a nature trail in the area as well as close to the Boquillas Canyons. So that's things we're going to be looking at for the rest of the day. And then again, it may get dark on us in 3 hours, so we'll just see. But, you know, it's time to explore, folks. All right, we have arrived at our campsite. We are in campsite number 5. It's actually a pull-through site, but we're just tent camping. So they provide you with an awning and a picnic table and a grill. No wood fires here. I think the reasons for that are obvious. We have a bear and javelina box. I know coyotes have been reported in the campground as well. So this is our next 2 nights. And literally, on the other side of the tree line, where Caden is standing there right now, is the Rio Grande River. Caden's pushing his way through the brush just to see if we can actually get to the Rio Grande here. I don't see an actual trail here, though.
No,
yeah.
Looks like it's been worn down by something before, but
Probably not humans. All right, we've got our little tent set up, our big old site there. We're just going to kind of walk around and wander here in the campground. We haven't even figured out where restrooms and such are at. And I know that there is a nature trail back here. We might save that for sunset though, because it'd be a really nice spot for the sunset, if we're even here at the sunset time. It looks like we found some restrooms, I believe. And you can see that little hill back here. I believe the nature trail goes up there. So Caden, what kind of plants and brush and such are we seeing here?
Some of these are some types of acacias.
Acacias. Anything else here?
There's some other stuff around here, but I'm not quite sure what they're called because I don't have any signal to look them up whatsoever.
Oh yeah. So there's actually some much more private sites in here for tent camping that I was unaware of. But you know, you gotta take what's available. And our site was more of a pull-through site that's more made for an RV. But you know, that's what's available, so that's what we took. But now that I'm here, I would probably make earlier reservations so I can get some of these cool sites. Kind of like that there, they're decked out there. So here we have another set of restrooms, and there you got your tap water, safe drinking water. Kind of lost track on which loop we're even in. So we've circled back around. There's our site over there. And almost right behind where we're at is the restrooms that are closest to us. We just hadn't seen them yet. Just a quick look inside the restrooms, at least the men's. Just outside of the campground is a small camp store that also has coin-operated laundry machines and pay showers. Just outside of the restroom, we found posted a list of roads that are four-wheel drive only. They include Maverick Road, Old Ore Road, River Road, and Terlingua Ranch Road. Now we also found on the National Park website that Glen Springs Road and Black Gap Road are also listed. So as capable as our Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness is, we'll obey the rules and avoid those roads. All right, we're back in the campground, obviously. We decided we're going to go do the nature trail, and we're going to check out the sunset from there, see the views. We started down the Rio Grande Village Nature Trail, which quickly leads to a spring-fed pond that hides Big Bend's most threatened species. Within this marsh is the Big Bend Gumboosia, a tiny mosquito fish that only exists here in this murky water. They are believed to be an Ice Age relic, and at one time they were down to just 3 surviving fish. Through conservation efforts, there are now estimated to be 20,000 descendants from those fish, and we were hoping to see them.
$5 each. Bracelets.
$5 each bracelets. I don't know what, I guess 15 for the little thing there, 20 for some of the pottery. All right, so according to the national park, Mexican nationals will come over here and they will leave out some of their little wares like that for sale. And it's done on an honor system. However, it is illegal to do that. It is legal for us to buy it. If we was to buy that and take it and get caught with it, they would consider that illegal contraband. So the only way to do it legally is to actually go across the border to Mexico through the port of entry and buy the things that are allowed, and they will tell you what is allowed at the port of entry. And then when you come back, you have to check it in. So that's the thing there. Apparently that is a common practice here, that the Mexican nationals will leave their little things over here for sale. According to the national park, can't do that. It's true, and this is something I have yet to hear from anybody else that's made videos of these trails and come across these trinkets for sale. It is posted both on information boards around the park and on the park website, where it states, Mexican nationals may leave items for sale such as walking sticks, bracelets, and other crafts on the U.S. side of the Rio Grande. If you purchase their items, you are encouraging illegal crossings of the river, which may result in the individual's arrest and deportation, possibly with fines or incarceration. Also, items purchased are considered contraband and can be seized by officers. Now we are very close to the port of entry. It's like not even a 10-minute drive from here. And we would like to do that. We brought our passports for it. But it is closed. The port of entry is closed here on the American side, Mondays and Tuesdays at this time of year. And of course, when are we camping here? Monday and Tuesday. So if we want to cross, we're going to have to come back later in the week. So we'll see if that happens or not. All right, so we've really got our first actual view of the Rio Grande here. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. River Spur Trail. I didn't realize we had one here. Heading down the River Spur Trail right towards the sunset. We're seeing a lot of these holes in the rocks on the way down. That's what Native Americans used to grind their grains and such in. Looks like we've got some scat here, most likely from either horse or burros that have come across the river from Mexico. All right, getting really close to the river. You think those rocks over there? At Mexico. So the mighty Rio Grande is not so mighty at this time of year. Look at that. That's maybe 30 feet across. I don't even know if it's that much. Just think, Caden, Mexico is literally a stone's throw away right there. That's pretty wild, huh?
It is.
Well, for today, that's as close as we're getting to Mexico. We'll see what happens the rest of the week. Cool thing about the viewpoint up here, got this amazing view here all the way out to the Chisos Mountains. It's a 360-degree view. Caden right there. And the Sierra de Carmen Mountains behind us. So here you can literally see just how close our campsite is to the Rio Grande. And there's our car. So here in the distance, looking towards the Sierra de Carmen, you can actually see the Mexican town of Boquillas del Carmen. That is where, if you go through the port of entry and cross the Rio Grande, that is the place to go to. It's about a half-mile hike away from the river, and apparently has some really good Mexican restaurants, some other things. Well, this hike's been a lot neater than I expected. I wasn't even expecting the River Spur Trail. That was pretty awesome. And then the views from up top there after the sunset were absolutely gorgeous. And now we're treated to the sounds of insects here in the wetlands area. So here's the conundrum. It's dark and it's not even 6:30 p.m. yet. Of course, there's no kind of phone signal here to mess around on your phone or do anything like that to occupy the time when it's dark. We did bring books. That's pretty much our only option after dark. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. This is our second day here in Big Bend National Park. First full day, and we are heading into the Chisos Mountains for our first big hike, at least big hike to us, for this adventure. So come along, it's going to be a good one. It was our intention to hike the Lost Mine Trail today, as it's considered one of the best hikes in the park. But as you can see, even at 8 a.m., trailhead parking is full. Even the small satellite parking areas were full. So, we had to go with Plan B. Well, we already had to change our plans this morning. Our intention was to go hike the Lost Mine Trail. It is one of the most popular hikes here in the park. And apparently there's only about room for maybe 10 cars to park in that trailhead. So we got there, sun was just coming up over these mountains, and there was already more than the trailhead could handle for parking. So I guess we underestimated just how early you have to be out here for some of these trails. So anyway, we came on down to the Chisos Basin, and we're going to do the Windows Trail. Probably about the same length for the trail that was going to do over the Lost Mine. And of course, some amazing views regardless. Our hike starts in the middle of the Chisos Basin, which is sort of a sky island inside the semicircular lava domes that make up the peaks of the Chisos Mountains. The window, as it's called, is the low end of these peaks that offers a view out into the valley outside of the mountain range. The best view is from up high. We'll return to that after our hike. The trail down to that window follows the Oak Creek Canyon to the pour-off, where the creek empties over the side some 200 feet to the valley below. That is, when the creek actually has water, as it does not here in December. Big Bend really is one of the most diverse parks I think we've ever been to. You know, the majority of it is the desert landscape, which has got its own type of beauty. And then here in the middle of it is the Chisos Mountains, which is wholly contained within the national park. It is the only mountain range fully contained within a national park. And of course, that's because the Chisos Mountains were actually once one large volcano. This is just the remnants of it. And of course, then you've got the third ecosystem that the park is so well known for, and that is the Rio Grande National Scenic River and all of its canyons that it's carved out. Cool place. Fun little route here, isn't it? Be really interesting to be here when there's water going through that. There's your view, buddy.
Yep. Seems like you can climb down there.
Just a little bit. That's about as far as I feel safe. Yeah. It's a pretty cool view though. Do you want to try it? It's up to you. The windows got pretty busy after we started heading out. But look at this view from here. All right, so that window, really cool feature. Had a lot of fun walking down here to it. Great little hike. But now we have the fun part of hiking back up. This has got to be some of the coolest scenery though that I've seen. You know, when you think of Texas, most people typically think of all the flatlands and oil fields, but you've got some really cool mountains mixed throughout, at least from central towards the west. It's just amazing stuff. And the geology of it fascinates me. You know, prior to getting down here, I knew all about the Chisos Mountains except for one fact, and that's the fact that this was all originally one giant volcano. Really, really awesome. It's always cool looking up on the sides of the canyons too and seeing what plants and such thrive on there, because you've got agave and prickly pear, so many things. So that was the Windows Trail, not to be confused with the Window View Trail, which is just a much shorter little walk from the trailhead to go see a cool view of the window. And it is wheelchair accessible, so it's nice that the park has included that. For those with mobility issues, they can still get this amazing view. Let's go check it out. We were just down there. So we was going to go inside the Chisos Basin Visitor Center, but they're closed for lunch right now, noon to 1. So instead we're going to go over here and check out the lodge and maybe check out the restaurant for lunch. Lunch with a view, buddy. Mm-hmm. Nom nom. Nom nom. Just checking out the info before we do our big hikes tomorrow. These are the pinnacles. Toll Mountain.
Yeah. Whoa. What is that?
Roadrunner.
That's a Roadrunner.
Yep. He's gonna go to our car. He's like, hey, this is a nice car here. Roadrunner wants a Subaru. I think he wants to race. All right, we had a great first half of the day today here exploring the Chisos Basin area, going down the Window Trail. It wasn't quite what we had planned for today. We was originally going to do the Lost Mine Trail, but you know, plans change, and I really am happy with the trail that we got to do. And then of course we got to do the visitor center and have an awesome lunch there at the lodge. So good times. Now I think we're just going to go out cruising. We might go out the Scenic Drive out here and see what all we can see. We headed to the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive on the western side of the park. The scenic road is 30 miles long and offers a different view not only of the Chisos Mountains, but many other formations as well, with lots of overlooks, historic sites, and trailheads along the way. We're on the western side of the Chisos Mountains right now on the Scenic Drive, and from here you can actually see the window. That is what we hiked down to earlier. That's a window into the basin. And to think that these mountains here on the left and on the right are lava domes. Once upon a time, millions of years ago. We are at Sotol Vista here along the Scenic Drive, and what a view this place gives. Some of the most interesting landscape I think I've seen. Here's the crazy awesome view here at Sotol Vista. All those cool formations. And way out there you'll see a mesa going across with a notch in it. That notch is the Santa Elena Canyon that the Rio Grande runs through. We're now at Mule's Ears Viewpoint. It's a really interesting story here about these Mule's Ears formation. And really it is a volcanic dikes. Let's see what the history of is it and see what it looks like. The two spires of Mule Ears are remnants of volcanic dikes, once sheets of magma that squeezed upwards through fractures in the rock. Rising over 1,000 feet above the desert floor, for thousands of years they were used as geologic landmarks, guiding explorers through this rugged landscape. In 1934, Lieutenant Thad Foster famously flew a plane between the Mule Ear peaks. I've just got to say the pictures and video do not do this wall of rock justice. It's just overwhelmingly huge. Left to right, 1,000 feet up. You know, I've seen many pictures and videos of it, but you don't really fathom its size until you're there in person. Wow. We're at the Santa Elena Canyon overlook. There's some glare from the sun kind of interfering with us, but there she is, along with that huge rock wall. The Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive terminates at the trailhead to Santa Elena Canyon, which is probably the most photographed feature here in Big Bend. So of course, we had to hike into it. All right, you ready to head into this canyon?
Yep.
All right, let's go and see the sights. With canyon walls rising as high as 1,500 feet above the river, it's an impressive sight. There's something about a narrow canyon, with one wall in America and the other in Mexico, that really makes you realize how insignificant these borders are. We're all just humans trying to make our way the best we can, regardless of ethnicity or nationality. Probably the most surprising thing to me about the Rio Grande River is how small it is. I've waded through creeks wider and deeper than this. It is the second longest river in the United States, but it is a diminished river as it has been impounded upstream for irrigation and other human uses. Today's river is a shadow of what it used to be. We have reached the end of the trail, where the trail meets water in this canyon. So we just walked out kind of into the Rio Grande here. But wow, what a view. Look at that. I love that reflection in the water. Well, what do you think of the Santa Elena Canyon here, Caden?
Seems pretty neat.
That is really neat. Such a cool geologic kind of formation. And then just the effects of the canyon, is like the echo, and then the really cool reflections in the water. It'd be really neat to canoe this, huh?
Yeah.
I think it takes multiple days though to actually do that, so probably not in the cards for us anytime soon. But I've really loved this journey. Glad we got to tick this off of the old bucket list. It has been a very productive day today. Lots to see, lots to experience. It is now about 10 after 5, and it's about an hour and a half drive to get back clear to the other side of the park from the Santa Elena Canyon all the way back to the Rio Grande Village. About an hour and a half drive. So we're definitely going to be getting back in the dark, hoping we'll be able to stop at the gas station at Panther Junction as well to get some gas, or we might be in trouble. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. It is a beautiful morning here in the Rio Grande Village Campground. This is our, we're packing up this morning to get out. So last night we did get some gas here in the park, so we were lucky that it was still open. And we got back to the campground around 6:45 p.m. It was pitch dark, and the campgrounds here try to keep the lights as low as possible. They actually ask campers to keep their lights low as possible. So it is like pitch dark. And of course that is because of the dark skies here. And they have been some of the best dark skies we've ever seen, huh, buddy?
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's awesome, but it also makes it very difficult to get anything done in the dark. You know, we got packing up to do. We've got plans to go up into the mountains today, backpacking. We need to get all that stuff. And so now we're trying to catch up now that we're just about at sunrise, and we got to get everything done so we can get out and get on the trail. All right, we are out of the Rio Grande Village Campground. I kind of feel bad that we didn't have time to really explore that area properly. We spent 2 nights there, but like yesterday, we left in the dark and we got back in the dark. So we didn't spend any time during the daylight in the campground or surrounding area. So literally the only time we had to explore that area was when we first arrived on Monday and did that little nature trail, and that's it. We're back on the road now, heading back towards the Chisos Mountains, and that is where we're going to be spending our night tonight, as long as we don't wear ourselves out trying to do it. We are back in the Chisos Basin, and we are loaded up, full packs. They're already weighing us down. We ain't even got started yet. And you know, we haven't done any backpacking of any kind in at least 14 months. So yeah, we may have bit off more than we can chew, but here we go. Our plan was to hike up the Pinnacles Trail to Toll Mountain, where we have backcountry permits to camp tonight. From there, our intent is to hike on up to Emory Peak, which is the highest point in Big Bend National Park at 7,835 feet. The park has backpackers park in the Chisos Basin Campground Amphitheater parking lot, which adds an extra 0.4 of a mile and 200-foot elevation gain to our hike, for a total of 3.9 miles and nearly 1,900-foot elevation gain to get to our camp on Toll Mountain. From there, it would be an additional 1.5 miles, a 900-foot elevation gain to reach Emory Peak. From here we got a really good view of the window looking out from the basin in that direction. And we swing around, get that dominating the landscape. We have reached the level of the Pinnacles. All right, check out our signage here, buddy. Emory Peak, Boot Canyon, South Rim, Toilet, Clear Country. Well, we made it to the saddle that's between Toll Mountain and Emory Peak. So that direction behind me, Emory Peak. In the other direction, Toll Mountain. So hey, let's go check out our campsite and get some of this weight off of us. All right, we are all set up here at our Toll Mountain backcountry campsite. Now you can see behind me here some awesome mountain views. That is directly out from our campsite. So let's take a look at this real quick. Swing you around here. All right, Toll Mountain 1, it's the only campsite here. We got us a couple of little mini bear boxes. There's our one tigress backpacking tent there. It is a 4-season because it is going to get cold tonight. Now on this side of our tent, let's take a look at the view we have here. Get through these rocks, some trees, and we look directly down into the Chisos Basin. So that's a nice view right there, literally right outside of our tent. We'll come around through here, and here we have a cool common area. It's like if you had a larger group. We've got these logs all built around here and make nice seats. So if you're worried about coming up here looking for good places to sit and relax, well, this has already got it built in. Now let's go just a few hundred feet down the trail here to see the best views. So straight up there is Emory Peak. Really thinking we're going to save that for tomorrow morning. But here, about probably not more than 50 feet, maybe 75 feet from our campsite, are these rocks. Let's see what kind of view we got here. What do you think there, Caden?
Pretty neat.
Of course, I got to climb on top of the rocks just to see how much more of a view I've got. Oh yeah. So this is what makes the misery of backpacking up 3.5 miles, 2,000 foot elevation gain all worthwhile. Got all this to ourselves. You can see the whole Chisos village right there. Wow. And over there is a Caden, formerly known as Catfish, and still occasionally known. He still answers to it. What do you think of this?
Pretty darn neat.
Pretty darn neat. Yeah, we've seen a lot of pretty darn neat places, I'd say. But yeah, I definitely feel like Big Bend National Park is severely underrated. Emory Peak, we'll probably see you tomorrow. Hey there, fellow expeditionists and all our friends and family. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Big Bend National Park. We're currently here in the Chisos Mountains, backpacking, camping out up here on top of the mountains. So this is how we're spending our Christmas. I hope you guys are spending it the way you want to as well. We are settled in. We took us a nice long break, both overlooking this beautiful scenery, and we even laid down in our tents for a little while just to kind of rest up because, man, we were very beat. We were still very beat from that 3.5 mile hike, 2,000 foot elevation gain with those giant backpacks on. Yeah. So we took us a little rest. We're going to have us some dinner here. Pretty simple stuff. Mac and cheese and some Mountain House. Don't judge. It's lightweight and it works. So, yeah. How you enjoying our time here so far, Caden?
It's very relaxing up here.
It's very relaxing. That's actually nice. I think we wore ourselves out so much that now it doesn't matter. We're just relaxed and enjoying the view. So that's kind of what it's all about, really. Loving it. Well, we had a really good meal. You may not think so, but I tell you what, after a strenuous hike and just being in the backcountry, so many things taste good that otherwise may not be that special. It's really the truth. We decided to come out here and take one last view before full darkness sets in. Well, good morning. It was a very windy night. Not super cold, not to the point that we couldn't handle it, obviously, but the wind was just buffeting the tent all night, and you can still hear it very much. I'm in a spot right now that's kind of protected. Got a little sliver here that I can see the sunrise from, so yeah, it's going to be a good day. And up there, Emory Peak. About a mile hike up from here. About 900 some elevation gain. But I do think the wind is going to have to let up a lot before we make that attempt. Well, we are all packed up. We are heading over to the Emory Peak Trail, hoping we can dump off our backpacks there and get this party started. So I've got a couple of giant bear boxes down here. It says if you choose not to carry your pack up Emory Peak, it has to be secured in these containers, so we're taking up a whole lot of space in this one. Here we go. A mile and a half up to the peak. We're just below the rocks of the peak. And I don't know that we're going to actually make it up to the geologic peak because it takes some pretty serious rock climbing to actually get up on top. And that might be a little above our skill set, but we're still going as high as we can. Very steep, lot of rocks. Whew. All right. So those are the rocks to the peak on each side. If you want to get to the top, that's what you got to climb. Let's see what kind of view you got here, buddy. Gnarly. Not a bad view from this side. I do feel like these rocks are climbable. The biggest thing is we're really tired. Do I trust myself to climb those rocks? Making out the best routes. And don't look down. Just me. Caden stayed below smartly. I'm on the, well, from this angle, the left peak. I don't think it's the one that's got the thing on it for the official height. But it's as good as it's going to get. Yeah, over there would be the highest point. We're on the one right next to it. So this is good. Emory Peak. This is as good as I'm getting, which is actually further than I thought I would get. So, right on. Now it's time to start that dangerous climb back down these rocks. All right, on my way down, Caden's down there still taking some pictures. There's a lot to take pictures of. Over there's the lava dome circle that makes up the Chisos Basin area. Simply amazing. It looks so huge from down there, so small from up here. All right, Emory Peak accomplished. We're back down to the trailhead. Now we just got to pull our packs back out of the bear box and make the 3.5 miles back down. Back on the trail and heading down. It's been a great adventure, but we still got 3.5 miles to go. Well, we got back to the car after that massively amazing hike, but I'll tell you what, our legs are rubber now. It wore us out between the elevation gain and of course carrying up our heavier packs, and then the extra hike this morning up to Emory Peak. So yeah, we're a little bit tired, so much so that after we got back to the car, we went back up to the whole village there at the Chisos Basin and went back to the lodge again for lunch. It's expensive, but it is so good. And I feel like we really earned this one after that big old hike there and backpacking and all. But now we're kind of heading out of the park. We're going to Terlingua, which technically is I guess you'd say a tourist town that built up around the Terlingua Ghost Town. So that is where we'll be spending our next couple of nights. We've actually got a Tipi we've got rented for the next couple of nights, so that's where we're heading now. As mentioned, the Terlingua Ghost Town is surrounded by many places to stay for all of your Big Bend adventures. There are campgrounds, cabins, tiny A-frames, space domes, teepees, and even some of the old mining town ruins have been converted into rentals. We reserved 2 nights at Buzzards Roost Tipis, and I can't tell you how much I looked forward to crawling into that bed tonight. Alright, we have arrived at Buzzards Roost Tipis. That is where we're spending the next couple of days here in Terlingua, Texas. So you can see our TP, our car right here. So 2 more TPs here. That's it. There's just 3 TPs in this one. There's a common area over there to hang out in, a restroom and a shower. Let's go check some things out. So here we got the restroom. It's just a single restroom, real simple, but very well decorated. You got your restroom, and you got your interesting artwork. Looks like we got us a jackalope here to watch over us. Hey, there we are. So that's our restroom. Over here are the showers. Let's see what we got here. So this is the indoor shower. It's pretty much just that. Nice little shower. Here you go. Got your doors here. that can be closed. Our heroes, white trash, yep, that's us. And a lot of little messages, it looks like, on here. She is a human. Make an atomic on... Oh, I see. You can take these and make your own messages. She drunk my sunshine burrito. Interesting stuff. You've got some decorations and such right in the shower with you. Buzzards Roost, not a cave. So Toll Fest. Yeah. And of course they provide some lotions and some shower gels. Very interesting. And there's your big old shower head. So over here we have our little Party 101 common area. Sometimes they have firewood for sale here. Doesn't look like they got any right now. And there's an outdoor sink. But here's your common area. You can just kind of come out here and hang out. Got a fan, some, I don't know, tables or bongo drums. I don't know, we'll find out. Looks like there is a telescope here. As you know, this is one of the best places in America for dark skies. We've already seen it. It's pretty awesome. Probably do some dark sky photography from here. And of course, there's your awesome Buzzards Roost artwork. Now the teepees are of different sizes. You can actually see the Chisos Mountains in the background right there. We were literally just on the top of that today. Looks like there's a few things here if you got little ones to play on. Of course, you don't want your little ones getting into the cacti, so watch out for that. Our teepee is El Nuevo Sol. Let's go check it out. So on the back side of our teepee, we've got a couple posts here that you can hang a hammock between. Here we've got a couple of nice Adirondack chairs with a little fire pit. So if you do get some firewood, we can sit out here in the evening and enjoy. And out here, let's go inside. We got a nice plush bed. It's got apparently a heated mattress pad or heated blanket, as well as an indoor heater. Got some magazines and such back here, some tissue. They even provide you with bathrobes. There is the hammock to be hung up, so they do provide the hammock. And we have a little refrigerator and a Keurig coffee maker. There's your fridge. And of course, a nice seat to just hang out on. All right, hammock in place. Now we're talking. Yeah. After a long hike, it's a great way to relax. Well, good morning from Terlingua, Texas. Had a pretty decent night's sleep here in our teepee, but the only downside is we're really sore, aren't we?
Yeah.
I've been trying to talk Caden into still doing some adventures today. I would love to hit up Balanced Rock there back in Big Bend, the trail, and we've also considered a couple of small little trails in Big Bend Ranch State Park, which is just west of here, but not having much luck in convincing Caden to get out and do any kind of walking. How you feeling?
My legs feel like jelly.
Yeah, still feels like jelly. Getting up and walking, you can still feel the strain and the pain left over from that big backpacking adventure. So worth it, but there's consequences. So really, he was wanting a 0 day, not doing anything. And I have a hard time doing that when we're out in such a beautiful country. But I don't know. We'll see what the day brings us. While sitting outside of our teepee recuperating, we were surprised when more than a dozen scaled quails came marching across the hills right in front of us. They didn't stay long, but it sure was interesting to see. We are on the move. We were very slow moving this morning. Had us some simple cereal for breakfast and got into the showers, got cleaned up finally. Needed that badly. And just relaxed. And not gonna lie, took some ibuprofen and took the edge off of our muscle aches and pains. And we're now heading west. Not back into Big Bend National Park, but into Big Bend Ranch State Park. Not going to go too far. We only have a few hours of daylight, but we're going to get out there and see a few things because we're here. We're at the Big Bend Ranch Visitor Center. I'm going to check in here. It is $5 per person to visit the state park. Got our fee in this nice little envelope. Dropping it in. Alright, we're going to go check out the visitor center before we go out and hopefully hit a trail or two. There's a scenic desert garden area here that Caden wants to check out before we check out the visitor center, so let's go see what's here. Pretty cool stuff, but mostly the same kind of stuff we've been hiking in for the past few days, huh?
Yeah.
The Chihuahuan Desert. It's amazing to think that this desert was once under the sea and then had thriving dinosaurs. This is just a single wingspan for a Quetzalcoatlus, the largest thing to ever fly on Earth. So the ranger and gift shop is separate from this kind of nature center here. And I tell you what, this is a really thorough nature center here. Really cool stuff. All right, we're currently cruising right along the Rio Grande. It's not much of a river at this time of year or just this far south. It's a diminished river. It gets used up mostly further north through reservoirs and everything else that it gets used for, I guess. But yeah, that visitor center we were just at here for Big Bend Ranch was probably one of the most thorough visitor centers I think we've ever visited. Tons of information. We spent a lot more time there than we normally would. But yeah, I mean, that is probably a better visitor center than a lot of national parks have. Anyway, we're enjoying these views as we're cruising through the park.
Hey fellow expeditionists, we're at Big Bend Ranch State Park and we're going to hike the closed canyon trail.
The Closed Canyon Trail is the only slot canyon within the state park. It splits the Colorado Mesa in half, with canyon walls rising as much as 150 feet. The trail is about 1.5 miles out and back, and does feature some small scrambles as the canyon slowly drops in elevation as it makes its way to the Rio Grande. And part of the fun of this trail is navigating some of the little drops. Some of these canyon walls, they say, get up to 15 stories high. Whoop. The narrow walls here, there's only an hour or so out of the day, if that the bottom of this canyon actually sees sunlight like we're in right at the moment. Get down here, and we've got some water, but there's a way to go on the side of it, so.
I think that might be about as far as we go.
As far as you want to go? Yeah, I'm thinking we might get around this. As long as you don't slide into the water, huh?
Yeah, I'm already slipping. I'm gonna have to stay back here.
All right. All right, you stay safe. I won't be long. Whew. And automatically around behind me is another slide. Well, this is the end of the trail regardless. I guess I made it to the end. We got water below. Do not proceed beyond this point. You don't gotta tell me twice. All right. That was a fun little adventure. It's gonna be even funner trying to go back, isn't it? All right, coming back. You can see why it gets a little sketchy here. It's a slick drop off right there. I'm just going to kind of run down to the gravel over here. Whee! All right. That was an awesome little trail there for the Closed Canyon Trail. Today we were pretty much felt a little bit defeated, you know, from our being so sore from everything this week. And so we was going to take a 0 day, but we decided, you know, we got to get outside and explore some more, at least do some scenic driving. And boy, I'll tell you, Big Bend Ranch State Park is much more scenic than I anticipated. I really like that. And then of course fitting in that hike there at Closed Canyon, bonus. We're feeling pretty good. We're gonna head back right now to Terlingua and just explore. Before leaving the park, I decided to cruise through a couple of the state park campgrounds along the way. You know, just in case we ever find ourselves down here again in the future. Terlingua was founded in the 1880s when miners discovered cinnabar here, from which the metal mercury is extracted. Prior to the mining days, Native Americans used the cinnabar for its pigment, which is a brilliant red color, for pictographs. By the early 1900s, 7 mining companies were operating here as the town grew to a population of 3,000. Today, the population is less than 100. All right, we are in the Terlingua Ghost Town, which is literally within a half mile of our teepees. The Starlight Theater is back here. We're going to go back there and check out their little gift shop and such. But first, we're going to walk around some of the old structures from this old mining ghost town. So this is one of the old mine shafts. According to their plaque here, Texas has capped and backfilled like 70 of these mine shafts, but they've left some, such as this one, here just to preserve their historical significance. So, kind of interesting to see. That would have been one of the old things that got lowered down into the mine shaft. Look at the landscape that they were digging in. There's a whole canyon type thing on this side. There's lots of old stone structures, the remnants of them, throughout the middle here of Terlingua. There's some up on the side of the hill up there as well. Some of them still look lived in or used. We got another one of the old structures. Just kind of fascinating. End of trail, private residence beyond this point. But this landscape, as you can see, is just dotted with all of these old structures. All the ancient history to this area. How'd you like to spend the night here?
I'm good.
This is what an old cemetery looks like in the desert. The Terlingua Cemetery looks like something right out of an old Western movie. This small 1-acre cemetery is graced with wooden crosses, simple stonework, small grottos, and handmade embellishments. With graves beginning in 1903, this is the final resting place for miners that succumbed while digging for the highly toxic mercury. Fatal mining accidents, as well as the influenza epidemic of 1919, helped fill the small cemetery. But if you look closely, you'll find that this old cemetery is still in use, as we find more recent burials among the older ones. There's some old cemeteries where I grew up back in Indiana that actually predate a lot of what these are, but this has a whole different feel. So So even though there are some very old graves here, there are also some new ones. People have quite a history here in Terlingua. I think this guy had a lot of friends in his life. So the old Terlingua Cemetery here is both very somber and kind of fascinating, you know, just the history of the people here and the things they've gone through is really just kind of fascinating. So the plan had been last night after checking into the Tipi to have pizza as kind of a reward for our big adventure hiking up into the mountains. And then tonight, we were going to go into the Starlight Theater for dinner. But once we got to the Tipi last night, we never did get out. We ended up just having some lunch meat sandwiches for dinner. So we're going to have pizza tonight. Starlight Theater. Just probably going to have to wait till the next time we're in the area. Well, we came to Long Draw Pizza. Really nice little place, great ambience here. Even got some live music to jam out to.
You know, it's cool that we also have a view of the mountains behind us.
Well, we're back in our teepee. It's been a pretty good day. We've got some relaxing done. Got to do a little bit of hiking, exploring, and scenic touring. And that pizza was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
We still got like half of the pizza. I guess that's what our breakfast is going to be. So we're just going to kind of hang out here this evening, relax, maybe watch some stars. So we'll see you in the morning. All right. The neighbors weren't awake, they are now. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. We've had an awesome time here in Terlingua and in the Buzzards Roost Tipis. Time goes by so fast, doesn't it?
It does.
It doesn't feel like 2 days in these, but it is. We had a great time here. Skies are beautiful. The town is really interesting. And it gave us a chance to rest and recuperate, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
All right, but now it's time to move on. We're heading actually back into Big Bend National Park today for a couple of new little adventures there. So come along, let's go. Hey fellow expeditionists, we're in Big Bend National Park.
We're hiking the Boquillas Canyon Trail.
We had driven back to the east side of the park, close to where our Big Bend adventure began, to hit the Boquillas Canyon Trail. This is a short 1.4 mile out and back hike with some amazing views of the Rio Grande, looking into the canyon, and the Sierra del Carmen Mountains. Look down on the river valley below, and then up to the cliffs that contains the canyon. It's just kind of fascinating that the Big Bend National Park kind of starts in the west from where the Rio Grande River flows through and out of the Santa Elena Canyon, and then it kind of ends in the east where the river then flows into the Boquillas Canyon. So you can kind of think of the park down here being bookended by these canyons. That's a cute dog though. This way, buddy. So yeah, there we just ran into a couple of the Mexican nationals that have crossed the river on horseback, trying to sell their wares. And you know, I'm sure if you bought something from them, most likely nobody would catch you, but if you were caught, that's contraband. So yeah, play it safe, folks. We did witness these fellas cross the river a couple of times. They were selling bananas and tamales. Although not necessarily legal, they're not really doing any harm, just trying to make a living. So Boquillas literally translates to little mouth. And yeah, this is definitely no little mouth to this canyon. Those walls are hundreds of feet tall. I know the camera can't capture that, but trust me. But one theory is they were referencing some of the holes along the cliff sides as being the little mouths. Could be why it's called Boquillas Canyon. Just about at the end of this trail. We're going to see if there's any more to see from above these rocks. And then it's another climb back down on that side. And then it ends right there at the river edge. I think that's probably as good as we need to get. What do you think, buddy?
Agreed.
Some amazing scenery out here. Don't underestimate Big Bend. You gotta see it. If you're a national parks traveler like we are, add this to the list if you haven't been. So that's Boquillas Canyon. Cool little stop. I would have to say it is worthy if you happen to find yourself on the east side of the national park. Got any thoughts about it, Caden?
You know, it really reminds me a lot of that Santa Elena Canyon hike, except this one has more water and more water flow.
Yeah, we could almost walk right across in the Santa Elena Canyon. This one has some flow and some little deep points. Still very narrow. Boquillas Canyon was a beautiful little hike, but now it was time for the main reason we came back to the east side of Big Bend. For the first time ever, Sloan's Wilderness Expeditions goes international. We are at the Boquillas Crossing here on the eastern side of the Big Bend National Park. We are going to do something I've never done before. That's going to another country. We're heading to Mexico. Big Bend National Park shares 118 miles of border with Mexico along the Rio Grande, deep in the Chihuahuan Desert near the Sierra del Carmen mountain range. To cross the border from the American side, we have to go through the Boquillas Crossing port of entry, where the border agents check our passports and give us a list of all the things we're not allowed to bring back. We're not allowed to film inside the port of entry, but we went through without a hitch. All right, we are through the port of entry. We are heading down to the river. Now, we could wade, or we can pay them $5 each for a passage on a little rowboat. It's extremely narrow and extremely shallow right now, but we don't have any Crocs or anything like that to walk across. We certainly don't want to get our hiking shoes wet, so we'll probably go ahead and pay the $5 to take the boat, huh?
Yeah.
As mentioned, it is $5 per person for the boat ride across the river, and that does include a ticket for the return as well. As much as I would have liked to just walk across, I also thought it would be nice to support the economy of this border town as much as possible, as they fully depend on tourism to make a living. Thank you. All right.
First time here?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys want to ride donkey, horses, or pickup truck to do this?
We're going to walk.
I think we'll walk.
You walk?
All right, so that was pretty easy crossing there. It is $5 per person on the boat. And when you get onto this side, you have the options to take a burro, a horse, or they'll even give you a lift in a truck into town. But it's less than 3/4 of a mile walk, so we're just walking it. Boquillas del Carmen only has about 300 residents, with 2 restaurants and 1 bar, and that's about as far as most tourists go. Interesting fact, the Boquillas port of entry existed for decades as an informal and unenforced crossing point between Texas and Mexico. But after the tragic events of 9/11, the border crossing was closed down and remained so until a proper and enforced port of entry was staffed in 2013. It nearly destroyed this small Mexican town, but it seems to have bounced back since then. Lots of interesting little shops here, mostly all, handmade stuff, really cool. And we're gonna hit all that on our way back. Right now we're just kind of looking, get an idea of what they have. It's pretty interesting stuff. So here is the main restaurant, probably the one we'll end up eating at. Let's see, fajitas, lemon chile relleno, enchiladas, quesadillas, tacos, tamales, oh yeah. Fritada de cabrito, goat stew. So this is Jose Falcon, restaurant and bar. Family restaurant. Now over here, here's your Boquillas restaurant. We'll take a look and see what they have as well. And over here we have the bar. Oh, we got a little guy here. Hey, buddy. Oh, I'd be scared of him too. He's like, you got food? I'll come. So pretty much the street just keeps on going with lots of more little shops beyond here. I'm not sure what else there is. All right, Jose Falcon. Let's go get some to eat, buddy. All right, we are seated here at the Jose Falcon. I don't know if I'm pronounced that right either, but
Jose Falcon.
that, what he just said. I think I'm pronouncing it kind of the Italian way. Yeah, definitely not that. So let's see what we're going to have. We got us some tacos. Oh yeah, looking good. Nom nom. That was amazing. Absolutely delicious. Some of the best tacos I've ever had. So glad we came in here, come over here to Mexico, and had a legitimate lunch. What did you think of your meal there, buddy?
It was nice.
That was good, wasn't it? I had a meal with a view. Jose Falcone, worth a stop. All right, belly's full. Caden wants to check out some of these cool little wire sculptures they've been selling. I think they've got some really cool tapestries here I want to check out. We're gonna find something for my daughter KJ. She always watches our cats while we're on these trips. Awesome experience over here at Boquillas del Carmen. Great food. We picked up a few souvenirs. And you know, I don't feel bad about spending the money because every bit of it here goes towards these people's livelihood, not back to some corporation. So bonus on that. Great experience. We're heading back now.
Okay, Daniel here going with it to help you with the dogs. Okay, the horses will be your guide and then he will help you.
Just like that, from Mexico back to the United States. So glad we made the time to come over here and do this border crossing, go over there and have such an awesome lunch. Just an amazing time over there, huh?
Agreed.
Yep. I was super happy we got to go across the Boquillas crossing there, go into Mexico and check out that interesting little town there, had an awesome lunch. That was not on our itinerary at all until really just a few weeks ago. And even then, it was supposed to happen on Monday or Tuesday when we first arrived, until we found out that the port of entry is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays during this time of the year. So we squeezed it in here at the end of our time at Big Bend. But we might have one more thing up our sleeve here in Big Bend before we finally have to say goodbye. When you look up photos of Big Bend National Park, there are specific features that are always the most photographed, such as Santa Elena Canyon. But probably the second most featured photo is a formation called Balanced Rock. To find this iconic formation, we first must drive 6.5 miles up Grapevine Spring Road, which is an unimproved road that requires high clearance. It is not limited to 4-wheel drive, though it is recommended. Our Subaru made it just fine. Well, that was a fun time driving up Grapevine Road there. I wanted a little bit of off-roading type stuff from my Subaru for this trip, and I just got it. It's a rough road, but I found it fun. He didn't so much like getting bounced around, huh, buddy?
No.
Looks like this would be a really good area to do some bouldering in. That's a big rocks. As we hike the wash between the hills, our gaze fell upon all of the immense boulders, and we start to realize that there's actually a lot of balanced rocks out there. If we had the time, it would have been fun to climb around and explore some of these boulders. But the park also recommends caution in doing so, as apparently snakes like to hide out in the shade of these rocks. There are more than 30 species of snakes in Big Bend, including 4 species of rattlesnakes. Whew. Fun little scramble. Thank you. There it is. And let me say, it is way bigger in person than pictures show. All right, we are under the balanced rock. So you get this awesome view over here behind balanced rock. You see, Caden's got him some kind of botany going on here, right below.
Brian was talking about evergreen Texas persimmon.
Oh,
Would be my guess on.
Texas persimmon.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is it. This is the iconic rock right here. Big old thing. Look at the swirls in the rock underneath it. Remember, this is all volcanic in origin. So when you see all those waves in that rock, imagine that at one time being magma, kind of frozen in time now. As we waited to get pictures of balanced rock, 2 law enforcement rangers showed up. Now, I don't know if they were park rangers or Texas rangers, but they came looking for somebody that had brought a sledgehammer. And lucky us, got to witness the interaction. More on that later. Well, that was interesting. Yeah. Very, very popular, very, very busy feature here. And that is because it is one of the iconic locations here in Big Bend. So we had to come see it. The thing is, our first day here in the park, we stopped at the visit center, and I always get a cool sticker to put up on our cargo box for each national park. And so we got a nice one that features this here balanced rock. And it was like, we can't have a sticker on there if we haven't seen it. So we had to make sure we got in here to see balanced rock. It's a really cool feature, isn't it?
It is.
Of course, we did not expect to see the, I don't know, park rangers, I guess, come up here and have to escort somebody out. So more details on that in a minute. Well, we haven't had to worry about a Bigfoot down here in Texas, have we, Caden?
Nope.
What do they have down here?
Oh no. It could be a Chiso's Yeti, it could be a skunk ape. It could be something you totally couldn't comprehend.
Oh, could be chupacabra. Yeah, that's fun. Good times. Not like something like that would be around here. Some amazing scenery out there, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, all the cool geology, all these massive rocks, and to think it all started from lava, from magma, and eventually all that erosion finally exposed it all to what we see now. All right, now that we are out of the rock scramble area, there was an incident up there right after we got up to where balanced rock is at. There was a father, his wife, and 3 young children up there. And these rangers came up there, 2 of them. I don't know if they're some kind of park rangers or maybe even Texas rangers, because they were definitely law enforcement. And somebody apparently had reported the guy for having a sledgehammer, which he did. We never saw him use it. We got up there, he was just up there taking pictures like every other tourist. But that is what got reported, is him having a sledgehammer up there. So maybe he was doing damage with it, I don't know. But then of course they start questioning him, asked if he had any other weapons on him. He did, a 9mm. Yes, it was loaded. So the ranger had to get his backpack off of him, get the gun out, unloaded it, and he had no ID on him. That part seems sketchy to me. So without any ID or anything, they escorted him, his wife and kids, back to the parking lot. And I don't know what happened beyond that, but number one, you can't be bringing tools out into the national park lands that can cause destruction. And if you're bringing a whole sledgehammer out here, you're not doing it just for the fun of it. And number two, a lot of parks, I can't speak right now for Big Bend, but a lot of parks do not allow firearms here either. So I don't know, the rangers seemed most concerned about the sledgehammer. So we had to sit there and wait all that out before we could really get our pictures in and such of balanced rock. Always something interesting happening.
For the record, Texas state law does allow for open carry within the park, just not in visitor centers or ranger stations. When we got back to the trailhead, the rangers and the family were gone, so hopefully that all got sorted out and lessons were learned. As for us, we had an overall amazing hike, one that I would highly recommend if you ever find yourself in Big Bend National Park.
I think it takes as much time to drive on this grapevine road as it did to actually hike the trail, maybe more. Cool experience. I do believe the balanced rock brings our Big Bend adventure to an end. It's been a great 6 days here. Seen a lot of things, and you know, there's still things we're leaving behind that we didn't get to do that were potentially on my list. I always have a potential list. And yeah, we got to check off quite a few of them, but there's still more there, meaning there's room for us to come back someday. Loved the adventure down here, loved getting to go to Mexico. Great experience. Don't overlook it. Big Bend's got some cool things, and not just Big Bend, the state park to the west of it, great place. A lot of opportunities here for backpacking, hiking, canoeing, kayaking, and horseback riding, so many things. Bicycling, off-roading. So yeah, but our adventure isn't completely over. We are not heading straight home. We are going to be heading 8 hours, mostly east, to Central Texas. I'm gonna do a thing or two out there before we start heading north. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. This is day number 8 on our Texas adventure this week. Last night we left Big Bend around 5 p.m., drove more than 5 hours, and ended up spending the night at a little rest area near San Angelo. So we drove all through all of the oil fields and everything. Couldn't see them, but sure could smell them. Got some decent sleep last night, and so far this morning we've been driving through a lot of ranch land and hill country. We're heading towards Waco. Waco has a national monument that we just want to check it out. It's got some paleontological significance. We made it to Waco. We're at the Waco Mammoth National Monument. I remember hearing about this place when I was a kid. I think it was first dug up in 1978, if memory serves. I don't remember if I just heard it on the news or if maybe it was from shows like That's Incredible or what. But we're here to go check it out. So we've got wristbands for the 11:30 tour. We don't have to join a tour, but we probably will. Apparently it is a super busy day. We're already into overflow parking. So we're going to see as much as we can before the crowds totally take over, huh, buddy?
Yep.
So this is the original creek bed that the bones were first discovered in 1978. They eventually discovered some 16 mammoth bones in there. And that was the first dig. The second dig is now inside the building. You can tell with 46 years since this was discovered, and it's still very, very much an active dig site and will be for a very long time to come. So there you got some giant tortoise fossils, western camel fossils, and multiple mammoths. What makes the Waco Mammoth site so unique is that it is the only known Columbian mammoth nursery herd in North America, where the female mammoths and their calves were buried, likely from catastrophic flooding. The site was discovered in 1978 along the creek bed just outside of this building, where the bones of 16 skeletons were excavated through the 80s. The site was to be vacated until more mammoth remains were discovered, and this new site began excavation that also unearthed remains of a giant tortoise, a western camel, and even the tooth of a saber-toothed tiger. So my memory has this dig site being much larger than what is contained in there, and that is because that's not the original dig site. The original dig site was in that creek bed we were just looking at, in which 16 mammoths were dug out. So now they were ready to close the site. They were actually backfilling it when they discovered more on that other site that is still being excavated and will continue to be excavated for some 70 years, they say. We are on the road, got directions in towards home. We were going to stop in Arkansas and maybe do some little hike there just to check another state off our list of places we've hiked. But Caden's feeling a little under the weather right now, so we decided we should probably play it safe and just keep our directions heading home. However, we have different directions going home that'll take us a different route across Arkansas to Memphis, Tennessee and up. It's a route that we've never taken, so at least for us, it's a scenic, something new that we've not seen before. Who knows, maybe there's something along the way, but if not, thank you guys for coming along on this awesome adventure. It's been a great one. Big Bend and all of that area of Texas really impressed us so much. Loved it. We'll probably be back someday. If you ever get a chance to go, you probably should. Peace.